Well, hello, my friends. I'm so excited to be here again with Donna Dostal, the president of the Potawatomi County Community Foundation. Donna, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, Andy, it's just a pleasure to see you, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so as I promised everybody and you as well, is that we're going to do kind of a week to 2 week look at the event coming up on October 28th with Elizabeth Smart. So let's just dive into that, because I know tickets are sold out for the actual in-person event, correct?
That's right. And Andy, if I could just take 1 second to
Sure.
thank you and your entire staff at Metro Magazine, at Midland's Business Journal, for helping share the word about this event coming up on October 28th. The Impact for Women Summit is the inaugural event to really catapult the conversations that we're having to help lift up women in Southwest Iowa and in our Southwest Iowa region. And so for us to be able to offer this event and for it to be just so successful so far, we owe so much of that to you. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. And I'm honored to be a part of this. I'm excited to be emceeing for the day, because we talked just a little bit before hitting the record button about how this event is going to unfold and all the amazing speakers and what it's about. So
yes,
let's dive in and let's talk about the speakers.
Yes, so we have 4 focus areas for the work that's happening in Southwest Iowa to lift up women around our Women's Fund of Southwest Iowa. And so on the day of, it starts at like Andy said, like you said, it starts at 8:30 in the morning. We have registration at 8 in the room, and it is a hybrid event, so it's fully in person and fully online. We're so grateful to be partnering with Planet in Omaha. They are providing the online platform for the folks that can't be in the room with us to experience the event in a dynamic way. They'll be able to submit questions, and as a matter of fact, they'll also everyone will be able to get a recording of the speakers prior to Elizabeth Smart, which is going to be great. But so the event starts at 8, registration at 8 a.m. The event starts at 8:30. And so we have Debbie Durham. She is the Director of Economic Development for the state of Iowa and Iowa Economic Development Authority. And she is coming to speak about women in the workforce and how important education, what role education plays in making sure that women are successful. Then our next speaker is Dawn Oliver Wyand. She is the president and CEO of the Iowa Women's Foundation. And so we're so fortunate to have her coming to the West Coast of Iowa to share her information about what they're doing to help support childcare initiatives across the state. And then we were just blessed beyond belief to have Carolina Padilla. She is the president and CEO of the Intercultural Senior Center in Omaha. She's going to talk about aging in place and in community and the work that she has been doing and what she knows works for our communities to make sure our moms are healthy and secure in as they grow old in our communities. And then finally, we are so excited to welcome Elizabeth Smart to Council Bluffs and to the metro area to talk about her experiences of being an advocate, an author, all around her life experience. She had a harrowing circumstance where she was abducted and abused, and now she's a very strong advocate and survivor of abuse against women and violence. So could not be more excited about having Elizabeth. So that's the event. And to your point, Andy, we are sold out. We're sold out in person.
Which I think, first of all, that just, this was an event that was supposed to happen last year.
That's correct.
In the midst of all the craziness and the pandemic and COVID and everybody taking really, safety measures for the attendees. I mean, it's now happening, and
it's happening.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so happening. And so we're very fortunate to be in person in limited capacity, because we really want to be cognizant of the issues that are still facing our community. COVID-19 is still a real circumstance. It's a real threat here in our metro area, but we are taking the precautions necessary and making sure that folks can be safe. So we do have a limited capacity. So we have 200 folks in the room, in a very large room at Ameristar Casino. Have to give a big shout out to Ameristar for providing the venue for this amazing event. But we are unlimited attendance in the hybrid world. So there are still lots and lots of spaces for folks to tune in from the safety and the convenience of your laptop, of your phone, and participate virtually. So virtual tickets are $30 and they are $50 if you'd like a book. Elizabeth Smart's most recent book, and we'll get that to you. We'll try as hard as we can to get it to you prior to the event, but registration is open until the day before the event. So if you're planning on wanting to be there and be part of this amazing conversation, you can register right up to the evening before the event, so October 27th.
Wow. So let's just talk. I'm going to just sidebar a minute to the grants that you guys just gave out. And I'd like to just talk a little bit that we've got a couple minutes, but you gave out like the largest amount of grants for Southwest talk to me about it.
So the Women's Fund of Southwest Iowa, in the 12 months that we've been able to grant, we've actually, the fund has only been in existence for 2 years, and we've been building it over the last 18 months and started granting out last year during COVID and really focused on providing funding for access to affordable quality childcare in Southwest Iowa. And so last year we granted out nearly $60,000. This year, once again, we've granted out over 60, between the 2 years, over $135,000 between about 11 organizations in those 4 focus areas. Access to affordable quality childcare, aging in place, women's health, safety, and well-being, and then women's education, primarily focusing on STEM and STEAM education from K through 12, and then helping women raise women out of poverty through access to education after that, that post-secondary world. Right.
Well, so I just want to congratulate you. And again, Donna, I mean, you've been in this position. Has it been a couple years since you've been?
I've been at the Community Foundation for 3.5 years now.
Okay, yeah, 3.5 years. How time flies. So
yeah, we lost a year in there, like a year and a half.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It feels like we were in suspended animation, but time didn't stop. And there was a lot happening at that time, between COVID-19 relief and working with the Women's Fund to help alleviate some of those issues. It's been a very productive last, year and a half. And we are so grateful for you, Andy, for helping us tell those stories.
Thank you so much. And again, I am personally just honored to be able to share those stories and such important stories they are, and inviting people to contribute more and giving them information about how to contribute more. So on a bigger picture scale, how can people contribute to your organization and the organizations that you support?
Well, we have a field of interest fund at the Pottawatomie County Community Foundation. It is our Women's Fund of Southwest Iowa. Anyone that's wanting to be part of that solution-oriented fund that we grant from every year, they can get a hold of us at ourpccf.org.
Okay, well, great. So I'm excited to be emceeing this event coming up on October 28th. And like you said, virtual tickets can be purchased up until October 27th, the day before.
Right. Yeah, and you can get those at ourpccf.org as well. ourpccf.org.
Yeah. All right, Donna, thank you again so much for joining me. It's always great to see you.
Oh, thank you, Andy. Thank you for everything you do in our community. We're so grateful.
You're welcome. I'll see you soon. And folks, I will see you soon, and I'll be right back. Hello, my friends. I'm so excited to be here with Roberta Wilhelm. She is the executive director for Girls Inc. Roberta, so good to see you.
Thank you. It is nice to see you.
You know what? I was actually just kind of going over your website and looking at some different information. And let's just talk about the history of Girls Inc.
Yeah, Girls Inc. has been in this community since 1975. It's been in the country since the 1800s, but
Right.
in Omaha since 1975. It was started by some really passionate women, a junior league project, actually, and started in a church basement, 5 girls, and grew from there very, very quickly to where we are today with centers in North and South Omaha, as well as 2 transitional housing facilities as well.
Yeah. And like you said, this is a national organization that has an Omaha organization from it. So in the 1800s,
That's right.
I forgot about that. I forgot that this is a national organization. So
yeah, we're a local affiliate there across the country on the East Coast, the West Coast, not as many in the middle of the country, but one joined us maybe 6 years ago or so in Chicago, which is nice.
yeah.
I'd still love for there to be one in Kansas City. So if anyone hears from that neck of the woods, we'd love to have a partner there.
Absolutely. Well, then let's talk. Who does Girls Inc. serve? I mean, what do you do? What are your programs? So we'll start there.
We're open to all girls, ages 5 through 18 or through high school. And our transitional housing also helps young women who are older than that, who are transitioning to independent living. The younger girls, we're open to all girls, but we pick up primarily from schools east of 72nd Street. So those tend to be lower income neighborhoods where girls might not have the same access to the services and opportunities that other girls do. But any girl can participate. In the summer, we probably have a more mixed demographic because parents bring girls to us. But during the school year, we're more strategic about the schools where we pick up. So we serve primarily a population of Black and brown girls, but not solely. I mean, obviously, again, we're open to all girls.
Sure. And I have to ask you this question. How long have you been at Girls Inc.? I mean, you've been there for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm an old lady. I've been at Girls Inc. for, it'll be 18 years next month.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And I was with the Rose Theater for 20 years before that. So yeah, I've been in the community, in the nonprofit youth sector for a long time.
And let's just talk a little bit, because you've got this big event coming up that we were definitely going to talk about, Lunch for the Girls. But let's just talk a little bit. How have things changed over like the last 18 years? I mean, I assume they've had to, but I'm just interested in kind of from your perspective, what's different?
Yes.
Maybe what's the same?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what's the same over the years, even from the 1800s, is that the girls' needs are foremost. So the agency nationally and locally changes with the changing needs of girls. Yeah. So the Girls Inc. in the 50s was all about how to be a good wife and mother and how to prepare meals for your husband when he came home from work. And of course, that changed over the decades into teaching girls that most women work most of their lives and that girls should be prepared to support themselves and a family if necessary, and consider what their options are for a self-sufficient future. Yeah. So that's a big change from, and then again, in the 1800s, it was sort of like, how can you learn your parents are now in the mills and in the factories, and we need someone to teach girls how to make lace and, do these sort of things. Those really aren't on the agenda anymore at Girls Inc. It's much more about career options, STEM, equity, equity for gender, equity for race. So that has changed over time. And we're helping girls, again, access opportunities, social capital, connections, people, networks that they might not have access to without Girls Inc. helping break down some of those barriers.
Yeah. Do you have a mentoring program?
We do. I myself have been a mentor since 2006 to 4 young women, 2 of whom are grown now. But yes, women in the community can be matched one-on-one with the girls. And it's a great way to spend time with one girl and it's win-win. I mean, you get so much from your mentee and you learn so much, and hopefully they learn from you as well. And it's just enjoyable time that I spend with my mentee.
Right. And is there kind of a cycle, like, does it start at a certain time of year or it's okay?
No,
This is just like,
there's always a waiting list. I saw
right,
that a pair was matched yesterday, and they're just kind of always evolving. Some matches dissolve. Sometimes a life change. Someone has an illness or moves, and
sure.
it's unavoidable. Or maybe they're in grad school and they mentor while they're in school and then they move, which
Yeah.
again is okay. Other matches last. I had one mentee from the time she was in third grade until she graduated high school. So you can have a relationship for a very long time.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just so important. Um, so let's talk about Lunch for the Girls, which is coming up here in November, November
11th.
11th. And you've got a really exciting speaker. Was reading about her. I mean, I know her, but so let's talk about the speaker first, because that's exciting.
Yes. So our speaker this year is Dr. Mae Jemison, and she was the first Black woman in outer space, a female astronaut, Black female astronaut. She's someone that children study in Black History Month. There weren't a lot of Black female role models that were held up in educational halls, and she was one. And so our girls know her name, our alums know her name. They're excited for her to come. There's a lot more to her than, I don't want to say just being an astronaut, because that's an awful lot, but she's also an author and a dancer and a choreographer, and she's a very accomplished person. And we like the girls to operate from a center of strength, and to see her, she's just a great role model for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So is this a live event? Are you doing also a virtual component to it?
It will be live streamed.
Okay.
It's not produced as a virtual event as last year's was, but for folks who want to watch but are not comfortable or unable to attend a live event, it will be live streamed.
Sure. Are there tickets still available to the live piece of it?
Yes, and those are available through our website, or give us a call. They are available. I have to say too that usually the girls have as big of a role in the event as does our guest speaker. The girls' voices are the most important voices, even more important than our speakers, who have been presidents and first ladies and very renowned folks. But the girls, their voices are important.
Yeah, because I mean, that's actually, you got a step ahead of me too, because I know from going to this event in the past that the girls play a big role, and you hear from them and they're there, and it's just such an inspiring event for those who come. And now, like, with COVID-19, the pandemic, needing to shift things a little bit, and last year it was a virtual event, but you're kind of like, can continue that on for people who can't get there for one reason or another. So,
well, and I think hopefully there are some things we've learned from the pandemic that will continue, and that's one of them. That accessibility, virtual accessibility, is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are there other things happening during the luncheon, or kind of walk me through the agenda real quickly?
Yeah, so the girls will share first from their programs and their experiences and opportunities. And they tell us what they'd like to share every year, and they put the words together. So that's a really a little nerve-wracking because you don't always know what's going to come out of their mouths. But and sometimes it's not even scripted. Little girls may not even be able to read and may want to share about what they've learned. And they have gone rogue on us, but that's what it is. That's who they are. So that's okay. And then other girls will write a script, or one of the young women will introduce Dr. Jemison, and which is traditional that one of the girls will introduce the speaker. The girls will interview the speaker. So they come up with questions, things they'd like to know. So again, very much front and center. I think they're strong, smart, and bold. They're brave because they do get up in front of a crowd. A lot of people would be terrified to do that. And you have 8-year-olds who go right up to the mic and speak in front of a crowd of hundreds and sometimes thousands of people very confidently. And you can see how confident and strong and bold they are.
Yeah. And I mean, what an amazing opportunity for them to be able to have a place to do that, because that does not happen. That's kind of a far and few between experience that a lot of girls are able to be a part of. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, it is special. It is a special time for them to both shine their own lights as well as to network with folks who've been there and done that ahead of them and sort of forged a path.
Yeah. And I think the questions that our youth ask, I'm always interested to see what's on their mind, the questions that they come up with, because they're a lot of times very different than as an adult. You might even overthink things, but they're just there to learn, and they want to know, and they're curious. So that's an exciting part of the event for sure. So,
well, and sometimes the girls don't necessarily, we may know the speaker, but they don't.
Yeah.
So in fact, when we had the Archbishop Desmond Tutu come speak, the girls said, well, last year we had President Clinton, and this year we have a nobody.
Yeah.
And I was like, girls, no, he's not a nobody. And so they do research, and they do read, and they do fill the teen center with books and poetry or whatever that helps them learn about the speaker, which I love to see that process as well. And through that process, they come up with questions that they want to ask. Well,
we've got just a couple minutes left. I'd like to ask you, how can people support and contribute to Girls Inc., outside of this event, and also the mentoring piece? We talked about that. Are there other needs that the organization has? So many. We have opportunities for businesses to offer externships in the summer for girls to experience careers and what job sites look like and consider what they might like for themselves. We have volunteer opportunities for homework help, for program partners to come in and do programming with girls. We have in-kind donations of books, craft supplies, you name it. There is a way. If you want to get involved, we have a volunteer guild that helps put on fundraising and friend-raising events. There is a niche for every person's abilities times talent treasure to fit in with Girls Inc. Yeah. And so your website is? www.girlsincomaha.org. Okay. All right, Roberta, thank you so much for joining me. Again, November 11th is Lunch for the Girls. You can join live, but you can also live stream. Been to it many times. It's such an amazing event and such an amazing speaker that you have this year, as you always do. So, yes. So anyway, just encourage everybody to go to the website and buy a ticket. So, Roberta, sounds good. Thank you so much for joining me today, and it's so great to see you. Thanks for having me, Andy.